What if I told you there's a place where people have powers like us? The city of Adelan. And I can take you there.
Hello everyone and welcome to our review of Marvel's Inhumans. Probably the worst Marvel project to date.
I'd say it is. Okay, the first and biggest problem with this was the performances by all the actors. Even known stars like Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones.
Unpronounceable Welsh name.
Yeah, no one knows how to say that. Struggled to be convincing in this. He was so bland. Admittedly better than everyone else, but it was still terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this down to the writing and directing.
Yeah, I want to blame the direction more. Who directed this?
A gentleman by the name of Roll Reen. Here's a picture of Roll Reen stood next to Scene Bean. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Roll Reen correctly.
I don't speak freaky deaky Dutch.
But I'll apologise when he apologises for making this mistake of a movie. Another noteworthy involvement was that of Scott Buck, who wrote the first chapter of this, and 3 episodes of everyone's favourite, Iron Fist.
Oh, well, that kind of explains it.
And another thing, all the lines seemed forced, and just lacked any emotion or anything like that. They just sounded like things that people wouldn't say in real life. And because there were no comic book panels, people had to just exclaim what they were thinking at the time because there was no other way to convey that to the audience.
They tried to make up for that by the facial expressions, and admittedly Black Bolt would need his facial expressions because he can't speak to let people know what he's thinking and whatever, but even that was extremely exaggerated to the point it was distracting from the scenario that was happening. All you could focus on was how ridiculous they looked.
Yeah. They shouldn't really have taken Black Bolt away from people that can understand him and his strange brand of sign language.
Yeah, also, how does anyone understand that? Is that real sign language? Because, I mean, obviously we don't know sign language, but it kind of looked random.
Yeah, and there were just things that you can't convey with just fingers alone.
Yeah, well, that's why his facial expressions were so important, and I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't make him react as a normal person would. He pulled all these kinds of weird faces, and yeah, you understood what he was thinking and how he was feeling, but like I said, it was too much. Even in real life, no matter how disgusted or overly emotional about something you are, you don't go, like, insane looking like he did.
Apparently you do if you're the king.
So what about the humans? What do you think about that?
Bloody humans. I can see why the Inhumans don't like them. They're shit, no.
I'd move to the moon too.
Yeah. No, the humans weren't too bad. They did some bizarre things though, or at least the Inhumans had a weird perception of them. Like, you could see that they read human news and stuff like that to see what's going on down there, and they destroy drones every now and then, little bloody Curiosity drones, moon rovers.
Yeah.
The reactions they got when they went down there were surprisingly positive. Like, Gorgon met this group of surfer people that rescued him from drowning and then, were best mates with him and stuff and tried to give him motivational advice and stuff like that. And Black Bolt, he was only poorly treated because the police officers were trying to reinforce a negative stereotype about the police by beating someone who, for all they knew,
he was mentally ill.
Yeah, he was just bloody stumbling around, walking into shops, stealing things.
Very confused about where he was.
Didn't speak a word. He could have been foreign or disabled, and they just beat the living shit out of him because justice.
Yeah, but to be fair, he stole a very expensive looking suit and then assaulted a police officer.
Oh, he hardly assaulted them. They assaulted him first. Okay, no, there was that one guy.
Yeah, the one guy.
Right, yeah. Okay, he did assault a police officer, but at the same time, he didn't really hurt him. I think the police, at least in this universe, just like beating people up.
Probably.
Probably. In all universes. No, we shouldn't say that.
That's racist to the police.
It's racist to the race of police officers. Anyway, what's the next thing on the list?
You know what's a big problem for me? Is the fact that there was no need for it to be a movie. So far, admittedly only 2 episodes in, but so far, there seems to be no way that these are going to be heroes of any sense. The whole plot of it is they want to help themselves by stopping Maximus taking over from their throne, and
potentially giving the citizens a nicer lifestyle.
Yeah.
Can't be having that. Those are filthy commoners with shit powers.
Yeah. So basically, they're doing this movie is about privileged rich people trying to stay in power instead of letting the civilians, the people they rule over, having a better life just because they want to be in charge.
Real Life the movie.
So, no, but if this is supposed to be some kind of superhero movie because these people have powers, it's not, because they don't help anyone but themselves.
Yeah, these are super people, but they are not superheroes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they'll learn this through the course of these 8 episodes, and they're like, you know what, maybe we should help people. But to be honest, the only Inhuman comic I've ever read also revolved around Maximus staging a coup and trying to take the throne, and them stopping them. I mean, there was a little bit of like, they got humans to try and start and wage war against them, and it was about Black Bolt not going out there and just annihilating them in a second with a whisper. But like that was a subplot. It was just like, that's too much effort.
And you know what? Maybe Maximus taking over will harm the people more than them staying in charge. But their motives for fighting against Maximus are for their own good. They're not thinking, oh, but what about all the people?
Yeah.
No, they're like, what about me? That's important.
I like being rich and powerful. And when we get that Maximus, we'll throw him from the fucking roof of the tallest building. And it's like, wow, that's real heroic of you there.
Yeah, and we'll show everyone what it's like if you try and overthrow us. Mm-hmm. It's very dangerous. I don't recommend it.
We're terrible people, and we don't deserve a movie or a TV show about us. The end. That kind of brings us into the last point, which is we're not made to care for these characters. We're not made to understand these characters. They could have done with a point of view character at the start. And you know what? They set it up. They opened the movie as if they were going to introduce one. You see on Earth, running through the forest, being chased by people with guns, is a new Inhuman. She's just recently kind of got her powers, and she's like, what the fuck? She's freaked out, understandably, because she's always lived on Earth and not had any powers. And Triton comes to rescue her, like X-Men style, and is like, you come to Attilan with me. It's a place where you can bloody be an Inhuman, and it's nice there if you're royalty. And
you're safe here. You're not going to be hunted by humans.
Yeah.
And that's great. I feel like they should have taken her to the moon, but instead she was killed and...
Or lost.
Well, or kidnapped. But she was shot, so probably killed. And then Triton disappears, presumably dead. Mm-hmm. So what was the need for that? They ruined a POV character potential and wasted time at the beginning.
Yeah, they were like, look at our IMAX power with our slow-mo rainfall in the forest. Boots on the ground. Ooh, saucy. But it was. They showed us this character, and they could have been brought to Attilan, and, people, the other members of the royal family could have been like, oh, that's Medusa, she's got prehensile hair. That's Crystal, she's got the powers of, she's got kind of like fire and ice powers and other stuff. And Karnak, he sees the weaknesses and things. No, it's never made clear what everyone's power is. Medusa's is just kind of obvious. Black Bolt, there's something about his...
It takes a while to tell you what that is. All you know at the beginning is that he doesn't speak. And you kind of question why. And then eventually it will tell you that it's because he can murder people with his voice.
And has.
and has murdered his family. But it doesn't tell you that until too late into it.
And then Karnak's power, it just straight up misleads people as to what it is, because it shows it as like he sees things and they play out as one type of event, and it's like, oh, that didn't work, and he kind of reverses back in time, Prince of Persia style. But his power is to see the weakness in things. It's to see the flaw. It's so that like he can drop you with a punch, not so that he can have multiple goes at trying to take down 4 guys with guns. And then seeing a weird CGI glyph type hologram thing that points him in the direction of north, east, south, and west, like a compass.
Yeah, like as someone who didn't really know anything about the Inhumans, I thought his power was to make good decisions, and kind of is, but I thought it was more of a sense of...
Thinking time.
Like he kind of has a power to play out different scenarios and then choose the best one. Because in this, he attacks this group of people, then he like dies or something, and he's like, nope, that wasn't a good idea, and reverses himself back into this original part and does something different instead.
Yeah, very vague, very misleading, and it's like that with most people's powers. Well, Carnex is the worst example, but everyone else is just kind of like, it's not really shown. And if they had like a Kitty Pryde or a Jubilee type character that the X-Men usually have when they start a new series, they could have had someone that didn't know shit but only knew about the real world, the real like Earth and stuff like we know, and they could have had stuff explained to them and we'd have learned with her.
Yeah, and that way it wouldn't have been so bulky for them to explain to the audience. They'd be explaining to a character, and the audience could learn along with that instead of just trying to pick it up along the way.
And some bloody narration at the beginning might have, wouldn't have gone amiss, because you can't just assume everyone's going to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and learn what an Inhuman is. And even then they contradicted S.H.I.E.L.D. with that bit of the Terrigenesis. Like, yeah, they have a ceremony and stuff, but in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. it's shown that if you're exposed to the Terrigen Mist and you have the Inhuman gene, you crystallize up and you go into this weird shell thing, and then you emerge like a beautiful butterfly with a brand new deformity.
Sometimes with butterfly wings.
Sometimes butterfly wings, other times just a weird thing on your forehead, like most of the guards. Or mole hands.
Good for those mines, you poor peasant.
Yeah, get in the mines if your power's just shit, in our opinion. Because we're the royal family and we are related to each other, even though it doesn't look that way. Because race. Racism. No, forced diversity. I'm not trying to be racist. We do need diversity in things in our media, but
it didn't make sense how they did it, because apparently they were all cousins.
Yeah.
So
Karnak and Gorgon can't be the cousins of Black Bolt and Maximus and also be completely different races of them, or to them.
I'm sure there is an explanation, but leading back to the point,
they didn't
explain anything.
Yeah.
It was not made clear. And I kind of feel like they're using cousins in the term of how you would describe your best friend as your cousin, not as literal cousins. And I don't know which one it is.
Or it's like, when your parents have friends and you call them auntie and uncle even though they're not related to you. Anyway, do you want to give this a rating?
Yeah.
Or have you got anything else to say?
No, I think that covers it all. I mean, overall, everything about it was terrible. There was nothing really outspokenly positive about it. I'm sure each person would have a different opinion about what was good. Honestly,
they'd be wrong.
They would be wrong. Yeah, so what are we going to rate this?
I would give this a 0 if not for the fact that... Oh, and just to explain our rating system a little better. A 1 is like the worst movie that we can finish. A 0 is something that is so bad that we walk out of the cinema and we can't finish it and therefore can't give it a fair and just review.
Yeah, 0 is basically disqualified.
Yeah, did not turn up.
No, we will have seen
could not
some
finish.
of it. But if we feel it's so bad that it's not even worth staying till the end, then that's what a 0 is. Mm-hmm. Because we actually managed to get to the end of this somehow.
Because we paid money for it.
Probably just because we paid money for it. We stayed to the end, which means it doesn't class as a 0, so therefore...
It gets a 1. The lowest possible 1 that could ever be given to anything ever.
Yeah, it's the lowest possible value it can get.
Mm-hmm. We're just kicking Marvel things recently. I can't wait till Thor comes out and gets a good rating.
Yeah, I'm going to be really disappointed if Thor is terrible, because Defenders was bad, Inhumans is bad so far. Marvel needs to pick it up. Marvel's doing a DC.
Yeah, what are they like? They're doing a bloody DC. Why are they copying off them? It should be the other way around. So this gets a 1 out of 5. Nice.
Yes, 1.
Anything else to say?
Sorry for bashing Marvel lately.
Yeah, sorry. We do really like Marvel, especially me. I mostly read their comics.
Yes, so hopefully Marvel pick it up soon. They're really slacking lately.
Just the TV side.
Anyway, that's it.
That's it. You can all go about your day now.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, we release you. Goodbye.